Let's do an update video on the stock market. Right here we have the S&P 500 SPY ETF. So what happened today, you got a nasty 6-point decline, nearly 1.4%. So what happened is you came back to retest this pivot area that we talked about in a recent video, and you hit it and rejected and flushed. So coming into today, we were actually gapping up pretty high. So what I was saying was, most of the time, a setup like this is a no-brainer short setup. But today we were gapping up pretty high. We ended up opening way lower than what we were gapped up at overnight. But if we were gapping up above 446, so we were gapping up way up here, then it was very possible that this pivot area was going to be reclaimed by bulls and they were going to send this higher. So that's actually what I was thinking was a possibility coming into today. But once we opened and we saw this rejection, you just knew that this was going to work. And to be honest, this works. The next thing you're thinking is back to 432 area. So like we discussed in a previous video, if you get back in this area and this retest fails from those August 2022 highs right here, then you got yourself a setup for much more downside. So that doesn't mean like a stock market crash or nothing like that. It just means you're going to be targeting these areas that we talked about, this 426 support area and then this 423 gap fill. So those two things are something you should be thinking about going into the fall, especially with a rejection like this. So I guess a lot of people would draw it like this. They give you like a head and shoulders kind of thing, which is fine. Visuals help beginners, understand what's going on here. So this is kind of what you'll be looking at. That's basically what you'll be looking at. But I don't really care about that. I just watch price action and the pivot points, support and resistance. QQQ, very similar. This was just nasty. You saw it fail. You saw it try to hold right here. Then you saw it fail and reject and retest right there. And coming into this was just vicious. That was just a vicious decline. And if you look at stocks like AMD doesn't really have anywhere to go besides to this 96 area, call it 95 area. So long as it's holding below, say, 105, that's definitely in play. Did I say NVIDIA or did I say AMD? I was talking about AMD, but NVIDIA was on my mind because this is coming. Some selling pressure is very likely to be here, being that you have such a high volume reversal setup here. So if you can break below 471 tomorrow, you got yourself a really good shot at catching you a decent move lower. So this one is pretty wild. So just play momentum, but I think you can probably get to about 455. You feel what I'm saying? So definitely keep that on watch. And if you're thinking longer term, something you're going to be looking out for is a gap fill. So this gap has been open for a little while. So down just under 400, that 395 area, you can look for a gap fill for NVIDIA. So that's a lot of things that I'm watching or that I saw. Well, those are some setups I'm watching going forward. What I traded today was Disney. I shorted this below that support point. And basically, I got like 40% on some September 8th puts, and I got 120% on some weekly puts. So August 25th, this week expiration. This was just easy. This is very easy. I really like waiting for the easy setups. So also something else that I'll be watching. Google is flip-flopping on this constantly because we haven't had that impulsive move. So when a lot of the market was falling, Google was holding up. And so coming into Friday, I thought we were going to have a big down day last Friday because it had failed to fall with the market. It did not have a big down. It had a pretty decent sized down day, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the big down day that I was expecting. I was expecting more downside. I shorted it, but I went with like November and December puts because I was a little suspect, seeing that it was still holding the earnings gap all the way down here, because as long as it's holding that gap, it's not going to flush through, and it technically was still holding this retest. But so I ended up cutting right here at 129 Tuesday morning. I lost like 10 to 15%, so it wasn't nothing crazy. But then I ended up actually going long on Google. I got like 30 and 40% gains on a day trade yesterday. I actually went back long again towards the end of the day right here and sold up here, because initially coming into today, again, I said if we can gap up above 134, clearing this resistance, then we're gonna shoot straight to 136, 137, and then 140 gap fill. If you look at it, we did not open above 134. We just opened at 133.95. Now, I'm not magical, and we could have opened at 134 and the same thing could have happened. But being that our high point was 133.74, I said I'm going to go with the next whole number, which is 134. And I'm going to work my theory around that and obviously still use a stop loss, because I was very aware of the fact that this could happen today. So that's kind of what happened with Google. That was my thought process going with it. I sold my calls at the open, so I ended up getting 30% again. So definitely was loving the Google setup there. So we lost some money on some puts, and then we made money back on the calls. And now going forward, if we push into this gap again, I highly, highly, highly doubt it's going to hold. And you are at the very least, I believe, going to test 125. So if we can test that 125 area, I think you got yourself a really, really, really good short setup. So look for a break below 129.5 coming into Friday. Buy yourself a little bit of time. Just be careful. Know where your stop at. Obviously, these videos are just are not financial advice, just entertainment purposes. But this is a setup that I definitely will be looking forward to taking. So keep that on watch, because Google can't hold that gap but for so long. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. We've seen a lot of stuff fail their retest, and Google is just so happens that it's still holding up. But I like that we had an attempt at a breakout and then it got slammed down. So when I see stuff like that, that's when I start to think that, you're going to get a good move. Just like here, you had an attempt at a breakdown, but it didn't go. So then you had a really good move, strong move going forward. So if you don't get that immediate continuation, then you know that you probably need to start scaling out or completely stop out. So that's how I look at the market. And if you like trend lines, then Google here, you can see that you have this trend line set up. And, if you break below that, then that's your reason and theory for going short. But I don't really care too much about trend lines. But for those who need them, they are there for you and can help. But that's pretty much everything. Market looks crazy, but I mean, whether it crashes or not, I really couldn't tell you. But I do think we're in for some more pullback, man. Until we get that decisive move back higher, we in for a decent amount of pulling back. So we'll see what happens. And I showed you guys some of my favorite setups. So if you enjoy the content, be sure to like and subscribe. And I'll try to continue to post good content, good information for you guys, and you can sign up. So you can go to my Instagram and sign up for my stock mentorship program, and click the link in my bio at 6fatdaddy9. And I do videos, detailed technical analysis videos for the mentorship group 1 to 2 times every single week. So explaining my trade setups, why I'm taking it, and all that good stuff. And I give my exact entries, my exact exits, all that good stuff. So yeah, man, if you enjoy the content, sign up, like and subscribe, turn on the notification bells, and I'll catch you guys later.